hello, podcast world. This is Gabe. This is not my first time doing a podcast, but here we are. This is more professional than what I've done in the past. Last podcast I did was just a laptop and one mic.
With 3 people doing it too.
Yeah, we have more people this time. But this is just boys in the basement. We're just goofy guys, just willing to talk about whatever.
Of course, but not anything serious, of course.
No, I mean, you don't know we could get serious.
Liar.
Liar.
I guess I'm leaving then.
Oh, well, this is the end of episode 1. We already lost one guy. One guy's out already. Oh, thanks, Dylan.
Well, I'm James, and this is my first podcast. Oh, move it away?
No, closer.
Closer?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounded loud.
No, that's good. That's great.
Oh, that's better. Okay.
That's great.
Well, it sounds a lot clearer now.
Oh my gosh.
This is my first podcast.
Leave this in, Dylan.
How does this happen?
This is my first podcast. It was actually my idea for the name and everything, so I feel like I take full.
What? No.
The podcast itself was my idea, but I said I heard the name, someone else said it, and I was like, man, that'd be a great podcast name, and thus it was started.
I guess if you say the joke louder, it means. If you say the joke louder, it stands.
Did you say it first?
I said it.
I think we know who said it first, and it was not either of us. Oh. It's one of our friends. His name's, I think, was it
Drew said, but he didn't say.
Drew Moore is one of our good friends.
In the basement, but then I said podcast name.
And then James said it louder than you, so that means frick. We don't have any recording of that. There's no evidence who said it first, but this is how we got our name. It's from our good friend. We should
start just recording young adults.
Oh, our group?
We split boys, girls, boys go in the basement, boys in the basement.
Yeah, whenever it's the boys separate, we'll just record it.
Well,
Yeah, and that'll get sued by Miles City.
Yeah.
No. How do we get sued?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, we should probably get started on some actual.
Well, we got to introduce him too.
We got to introduce you. Dylan.
You just said you're James, and this is my first podcast. Say something more about yourself.
I definitely don't have ADHD.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, well, you get good information to know.
Anyways, I'm Dylan. I'm an audio engineer. I'm kind of running the whole show here, but
he is our producer.
I'm just gonna hang out. So
he hangs out and he tells the stupid jokes sometimes.
Yep. I do lots of hanging out.
Well,
so Gabe,
our first podcast topic is are there too many podcasts?
Yeah, definitely. And I did some research into this.
He wrote his notes on a piece of cardboard.
That's all you need.
With an orange marker, so you can barely see it.
That's the plan. So
think about it. Just think about it.
It's kind of an artistic take.
I looked it up last night. I went on my computer, which honestly is not the best. I don't even know what kind of computer it is. I got it for like $200. I was like, perfect. That's all I need. And
it's very cheap.
I was trying to, I'm cheap, but I was looking it up. I spent about 5 minutes of research on this, so I'm basically an expert at this point.
You are.
So
you're qualified.
There's according to Spotify, they have 6.2 million podcasts on Spotify. So I think it would have been over more than 6.2 million, but they estimated around 6.2 million. And for any of those who don't know, because I didn't know, podcast or the pod and podcast is playable on demand. So it's like you have to be able to be a podcast, it has to be able to be played at any time. Not like a radio show where it's like it has its airtime and that's the only time it's on, right? It's like you can play it any time.
You learn something new.
That actually is some good information. I did not know that.
I know. I told you I'm an expert. So
you're very qualified.
Yeah. As you can tell, I know everything. Those are actually my only 2 notes on this. But I did. Everything else is just conjecture at this point. But these are. I really did research those on the internet, and some person online told me these things were true. So they are.
Well, they say you can believe everything you read on the internet.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln said that.
Yeah, after he sailed the ocean blue.
Yep, 1772.
I love that movie.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
But as I was doing research on this, so 6.2 million. Actually, that number is. They think. Not just active podcasts, but also podcasts that are done. Like they've just finished and they just sit there stagnant now.
Like my first podcast.
He's like his first podcast, exactly.
To be fair, I think I deleted it. So you cannot go find comical thoughts.
So they think that the actual number for active podcasts is actually like 3 million or so of active podcasts. It's a very interesting number out there. But I mean, it's a lot of podcasts. There's no way you could consume all that media in just one person's lifetime. And if you do... I don't know how, but...
You have a problem. A big problem. A lot of time on your hands. And
that's probably your job or something. Look at that at that point.
But now we are one of that 6.2 million
Yeah.
podcasts
Yep.
in the
Sure
sea. We're just a couple. Like we're adding the fuel to the fire of white guys who started a podcast.
Yeah, because we did it better than them.
Honestly, I think podcasts really just make me think more. You know,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about what
having a mic and headphones, just like
you think better with it on.
so much more thinking happens sometimes.
That's really interesting that you say that because I feel the opposite of that. I feel like as soon as it comes on, something just comes over me, and I turn into this guy, you know. I'm just a funny guy, you know.
Does that imply you
Just
weren't a
a
guy
funny guy.
before?
Well,
Outside of the podcast, who is James?
Who is
The world may never know.
James?
anyway, back on topic, guys. Let's focus here.
Well,
We're
so
focused, dignified podcast.
I have some notes as well.
Okay, you have notes.
So
I
you
wanna
know,
hear these.
I think the point of a podcast is what I googled. I'm like, what is the point of a podcast? And this is what the definition I found on some website that I didn't write down the website, but they said the point of a pod, I wrote that part, is to learn more about a topic to keep up with current events or because they want to laugh. Where do we fall in that?
All the above.
Yes, we do.
We
fall
are
in that.
informative. And
Yeah.
hilarious.
I mean,
We
I
are-
just showed you the name of podcast, what the pod and podcast stands for. So
We are playable on demand, I guess.
yeah, I mean that's educational right there.
Very educational. You educated two people in the room.
Educated.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I feel like there are podcasts that don't do educational or make you laugh. Like some of it's just entertainment without laughter. You know, like they make you cry, they make you sad, they make you happy,
Murder.
whatever. Yeah, they murder you.
No, they don't murder you. It's murder podcasts, you know?
Yeah, like
Murder.
they. I don't know. I'm not understanding, Gabe. Just,
There's like-
why would you call it a murder podcast if
Well-
you're not killing someone? It's just ridiculous.
Are you killing them? In this
Murder.
podcast you're making up, is it where you kill somebody on the podcast? What are you thinking of talking about?
Just said a murder podcast. I'm like, oh well, they must just commit murders on the podcast. They bring guests on. They're like, hey, we're gonna be on a podcast. Like, what's the podcast about? It's like, oh, don't worry about it. And then they get there, and then it's just a serial killer's basement. You know,
That's an
That would
interesting
be an idea.
That's an
That's a-
interesting topic.
that'll be my next podcast.
No. I think what I was trying to get at was those like murder mystery ones where they're like true crime.
Yeah, true
you know?
crime. Yeah.
Where they talk
Oh.
about actual like murders that have
That
happened.
makes more sense
I feel
than
that's just
murdering
educational.
somebody.
What
I feel like that just falls under educational, though.
you think? You think knowing about random serial killings is educational,
I mean, how are you going to stop yourself from becoming one of the victims?
or one of the killers?
Yeah, that too, I guess.
There's also your Bigfoot podcasts and your cryptids, which is something that I'm into.
Yes.
Bigfoot.
Fake podcasts.
They're not fake
Gabe likes
podcasts.
feet a lot.
They're real podcasts, but they talk about fake things.
Gabe likes feet, especially big feet.
Very big one. And hairy. Big and hairy
Ooh,
feet.
yum.
Tasty.
Yes.
I also looked up a lot of these podcasts that are on the market are all these like YouTubers or TikTokers who want to go make podcasts and just try to make a quick buck off their fans, which is kind of annoying because then there's guys like us who are just like, let's just make something to have fun and just enjoy talking and hanging out and making people laugh. But then you have all those people who are like, let me go make money, like Mr. Krabs. That's what Mr. Krabs' podcast would be. Money, please.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's funny because I like see videos and I just think they're YouTube videos, and they'll be like, "Oh no, this is like someone has a full form podcast." And I'm like, I don't know who thought it would be a good idea, but they allowed it to happen. So
But, like
here it is.
Logan Paul's podcast.
I've watched some of his podcasts. Actually, not that bad. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't
I
he
haven't
just
watched like a
on
lot of it.
one?
I've just seen the clips of it though. That's the other thing with podcasts now. I don't actually see full podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of them, but I see some of the clips on YouTube of like the videos of them, and it's just. You know, I've seen the clips of his podcast. You know?
Doesn't Logan Paul only talk about Prime in his podcast though?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Like he just says Prime just
Probably.
around.
I
and
feel like he probably
propaganda.
does. I mean, it's his brand. Obviously, you'd
Well,
want to
yeah.
promote it. So,
Well, yeah, I think he gives people Prime on camera to make them drink it. Just,
I mean, hey, it's not bad. Not like I'm shutting out Prime, but I mean, I don't hate it. So,
I don't hate Prime either. Prime's pretty good, I think.
yeah. I
It's
can
not my
agree with that.
go-to, but
I never tried it.
But yeah,
really, you've
Nope.
never tried Prime?
Nope.
Maybe you should try Prime sometime.
you
Yeah.
should. It's so. If you do you like Gatorade,
Meh.
Body Armor.
Kinda.
just like those sports drinks. Do you
Powerade.
like sports drinks? Just at all?
Sometimes.
If you like a sports drink, I think it's good. It's got a good, strong flavor to it. Like it's not like I feel like Gatorade often can be a little watery, but like it's got a nice flavor to it, and there's not the sugar in it. Like
This
there's no
is an
sugar in
ad
it.
for
So
Logan Paul right now.
No.
No. Oh,
Thumbs down.
thumbs down. I disapprove.
Sorry, back to podcasts though. I feel like, for me personally at least, I mean, I know you guys listen to a little more podcasts than me, but
I think I listen to the most podcasts out of everybody in this room.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, I
But
do.
I think the most of what I see of podcasts is like just those little clips that they take out of their podcasts and put them on like YouTube Shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the majority of the
I-
podcasting I'm seeing.
I listened to a podcast this week. It
What's
was
it
Stuff You
called?
Should Know.
Oh,
and
I
it was
saw
about
that in your Be Real.
Yeah, and it was about Ypsilanti. I didn't know Ypsilanti had like a famous like psychological experiment that was pretty horrible.
Wait. Keep
Yeah, wait. What happened?
retell the information
So,
you learned off this podcast.
Basically, this like psychologist did this experiment with people in like an Ypsilanti mental hospital in like the 60s, maybe 50s,
Yeah, that seems
70s.
right.
I don't know, something like that.
A lot of dark
When
stuff happened.
mental
in that.
hospitals were a thing, which we should bring those back.
I agree.
But anyways,
Dylan's slightly sketchy.
He found 3 guys, 2 that were already like in the Ipsy hospital, and then 1 that was outside of it. And all 3 of them were like convinced that they were the Christ.
Wait, like Jesus?
Yes, like they were like
How do
living
you
in the reality.
How do you convince yourself that?
Because they're
You
like
were
psychologically
crazy.
like messed up.
Yeah,
And
but
so
like
they're all convinced.
But what do you have to do? What do you have to do to like be like, oh yeah, I am Jesus. I am the coming I am the Messiah here.
Well-
I'm gonna go heal people. How do you just trick yourself into thinking that?
They aren't tricked. They're living in a false reality.
Yeah,
'cause
but,
they're
like, but they-
psychologically messed up.
Yeah, but they have to be lying to themselves to start off
Right,
with.
exactly.
Maybe, yeah.
And you just get into an echo chamber, you know, if you're,
Oh,
in a-
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you're in a place and no one's going to say, oh, no, that's ridiculous, you're being crazy.
Well, then they
And
probably
it
say you're
stacks,
ridiculous.
And their own mental state eventually just starts stacking on itself with no one
So
feeding.
anyways.
Or drugs.
So anyways,
Lot of
I pulled
drugs.
up the Wikipedia. But also, so he basically, like, his experiment was taking these 3 guys that were convinced that they were Christ.
Did they put them in a room?
And he put them all together
Oh my
in the
God.
hospital and was like, maybe they'll, like,
That was me
talk
clapping.
themselves out of their psychological, like, state.
That is hilarious.
Do they kill each other?
No.
Did
No.
they heal each other?
No. Nothing really came out of it.
What?
It was, like, pretty messed up. He, like, did a bunch of stuff and then, like, started trying to, like, provoke them into, like, going crazier. And at the end of it, they were like, oh, this is kind of stupid.
So he just poked him with a stick and said,
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I bet.
Okay. It was in
I would've done it.
64.
He
And then he
would've-
wrote a book about it. And the best part was that at the end of the book, he was basically like, yeah, I guess it really didn't get anywhere. Nothing really happened.
It's like, I've read this whole
And
book.
he just left these 3 guys, like, severely mentally messed up.
Do
And
they
he was
still?
like, yeah,
are
whatever.
they still alive? Are they dead?
I don't know. I'd have to imagine they're dead. But he used, like, fake names. So
But-
you can never really tell.
Did they still believe that they were all 3 Christs?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, I think so.
How do you? But that makes no sense.
They
How
all
do
thought
you?
the other one was lying, probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
pretty much.
if that's what you think happened, that could make sense. But that's
Or, you know, there's probably a part of it where they know that what they're saying isn't true somewhere deep down.
oh, probably.
And
that
what
has to
happens
be.
is in your mind, you start rationalizing away things that seem real. That's really in reality how insanity works. You start rationalizing away. It's like, well, this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. No one else believes me, but it's like,
Is
but,
that why
it
you
could
think
be
you
this
don't
or
have
it could be
ADHD?
that. I don't have ADHD. It's top for another time.
It is, but we all know you have ADHD.
I don't have
So
ADHD.
basically, the 3 of them fought for a while at the beginning of the
Like
experiment.
fists fight or arguments.
Like arguments about like who was holier and who was really Jesus. And then they reached the point of it where they got physical, and then they're basically like each of them that thought that they were right and the other 2 were wrong. And they just like lived life like that. They're like, okay, well, I'm right, you're wrong, but like we're not going to fight about it, whatever. And the 3 of them just all thought that. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That just doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. I
it's
feel
pretty
like
nuts.
that's something.
That's an interesting.
Well, see, that's
podcast.
something that's something podcasts are good for when you're not just trying to make money off them.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up.
Oh yeah. Also, if you can't tell, we are from Michigan because he can say Ypsilanti, right? All the people who aren't from Michigan,
Ypsilanti.
it is not Ypsilanti.
I'm not from
Yeah, the
Michigan,
guys-
so I can tell
True,
you
you
where I
are,
was.
you are from New York.
The guys on Stuff You Should Know said Ypsilanti, I think.
They did.
At the beginning, at least. They might have got corrected later, but it
Okay, good.
was pretty funny.
If you say Ypsilanti, you're wrong. You're
Why does it have a Y in it
blasphemy.
then?
We don't know why we name things the way we name things. That's just the way they name things.
Just like any of that mysterious Michigan S to the end of things.
Yes, the Myers.
Kroger's, Myers.
Well, good thing we don't say Targets.
That's true.
My great grandma does say Costco's
Yeah. How is Target safe?
because Target's just doesn't make sense.
I mean, because it just you hear it and you go Targets, and you're like, it sounds like plural. I feel like if it was Targets, people would probably call it Target though.
Probably.
They probably take the S off it.
My great grandma adds an S to Costco. She calls it Costco's.
Yeah.
Let's go to Costco's.
Man.
Well, they own it, so
That's
you know
tough.
it's theirs. It's Costco's.
They don't own Costco.
No, Costco.
Who
does.
owns Costco?
It's
Who-
Costco's.
Is it that old guy that walks around with the barcode on his shirt?
I've seen that, yeah.
The chicken guy?
The chicken guy.
You know the chicken guy? Do you know the
I
chicken guy?
Nope.
So there's this
Do
old
you
guy.
know the chicken man.
I thought it was a guy.
There's this old guy who walks around the this is pretty old and it shows how out of touch we are. But this old guy walks around Costco.
Speak for yourself.
And he doesn't like that they put the chicken, is it in the bag that he doesn't like it? He wants it in the plastic. And so he made a whole big deal about it.
No, he buys them when they're in the plastic things, but doesn't want them to be scanned.
Yes, but
doesn't
no,
want,
but
like,
he
the
made a
infrared
deal about
scanner
what
to
they
hit it.
were put in. But so made a barcode of the chicken, the chicken barcode from the Costco.
For like a rotisserie chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I don't want any laser on the chicken. The laser, and then he's like,
Right, because
scan this.
cancer, obviously.
But he makes them scan him. So he doesn't
Yeah.
want
So he scans
cancer
the
in his
shirt.
chicken, but he wants cancer on his body.
Right. Well, you don't want to ingest it because as long as it's on the outside, it won't hurt you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that works.
Got him.
That's not how that works, James.
Well, we've established that I'm the expert, so.
You
have.
are the expert because of your cardboard.
Oh yeah.
true.
I forgot.
Yes. Well, so I mean, Dylan, do you have any thoughts on podcasts? Why there are so many?
So many.
Are there
man.
too many?
So many podcasts.
Are we just adding fuel to the fire?
Oh, we are.
Yes.
That's kind of the point.
Is
But,
that our existence is just to fuel the flames of
I think people
society?
just like their own voice too much, you know.
That's what I've read on some articles as well. But
Probably is.
I think as we've all learned here, none of us like hearing our own voice.
No.
Yeah, if we did have a whole discussion before the podcast started about none of us like our voices on cameras and on that kind of stuff. So
We did. So this is it's kind of ironic that we were making a podcast, but we're wearing headphones and we're hearing ourselves talk.
I try to just listen to everyone else talk, that way I don't have to hear my voice.
What
But
if,
you
people,
cannot-
what if everyone just had like in real life podcast, you know?
In
Like
real-
just
like
like
just
everyone
going-
talking and like no mics or headphones or anything. That'd be kind
dude,
of
that's just
revolutionary.
that's a crazy thought. Nobody's ever done that.
We should start it.
What?
Just a
Instead of a podcast, like just go with like no mics, like acoustic,
yeah.
no headphones, just talking.
I don't like that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't either. I thought it'd be kind
That's
of
I
crazy.
mean it's a
I don't
bit
like how my voice would sound. I don't know.
it's
It
a
sounds
bit
terrible.
it's a bit out there.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
I tried it once. I'll be honest. I did try it once, and it was kind of gross.
It was. I mean,
Like I looked at the people.
It was just a thought,
There was
that's all.
nothing happening. It was.
Just an idea.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it would go anywhere.
You're right. It wouldn't.
No.
It probably wouldn't take off.
No, I think it would kind of stay contained to the
Yeah.
room that it started in.
I mean, that's
There'd be like
ridiculous.
no clout around it, really.
Yeah.
No following.
I mean, who would? Yeah, who would?
I
who
wouldn't
would
do
be
it.
doing it for?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty stupid for even suggesting that.
You know who was really stupid? Me. Because there was honestly a second there where I was confused what you were saying. I did not understand what you were talking about for like a good 30 seconds of that. And then I caught on, but I was sitting there, I was kind of like, what the heck? I was like, what?
Wait
No
a
mic.
minute.
I was like, I didn't think about it.
It's
I'm like,
okay, you're
no
slow,
mics,
it's fine.
No.
Never
How
just
does
thought
that
about it.
work?
No
Like
mics.
with just a phone camera is what I was thinking. I'm like, what?
phone
what are you talking
camera?
about? Like, I don't know. And then
We
I
record it.
got it. I was like,
We record it
oh.
vertical.
Oh no. Bring back video the right way, please.
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 This is our public service announcement. Do not film vertical, film horizontal.
I think every week we should just beg people to not film vertical anymore.
Oh, I agree.
You know,
Okay,
I took
that'll
a
be the ending of it.
Yes.
Okay.
film class
Kind
in
of like,
college.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. It's
It'll be
kind of
upside
like
down.
Price is Right. You know how he says, like, remember to spay and neuter your dogs and cats or whatever?
No.
You've never watched The Price is Right?
I have. I've not seen that part.
Yeah, I think it's Drew Carey who does it right now. I think, and so that's how he ends it because he's like a big animal advocate, and so he tells people to spay and neuter their pets.
Interesting.
So like our call off would be that. Remember to film
Yeah.
horizontal.
Yeah.
Now you
As I
took
was
a film
saying-
film
As I was
class.
saying, I was taking a film class in college before I dropped out, and
You did?
one of the Yes, and
James
one of the
is a
things they
college
told us,
dropout.
one of the things they told us was he was like, you all have your phones. These are great like high definition cameras on all of your phones, right? He's like, so I never wanted to see any of you ever like recording or taking your pictures. I never want to see you do it like horizontally, or
Vertically.
vertically. Sorry, I said it the
Vertically,
wrong
yeah.
way. My bad.
We want it horizontal.
Ups
He's
and
like,
downs.
always
It's okay.
vertically or horizontally. Never vertically,
James,
always
you're
horizontally.
confused, buddy.
It's because he has ADHD.
It's unrelated to this, actually. I don't think people with ADHD just struggle with saying words correctly.
It's because he has ADHD.
So, anyways,
I had to take a breath, calm myself.
So podcasts.
Yes,
so many.
podcast.
So many.
so many.
Have you ever seen all the D&D podcasts that like it's like Dungeons and Dads or whatever? There's like D&D, like these guys just record their D&D games.
Really?
And it's like there's one of I think dads that like play in a basement and they just record them. I've just seen them because I've scrolled through so many. What are you doing?
I'm listening.
I've scrolled through so many like podcasts to try to find new ones.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of, if you're on iOS, Overcast. It's worth it. It's made by one developer. Great podcast app.
I'll try to get ours uploaded there. I forgot to
Sweet.
look at that one.
Yeah, I love Overcast. But
I don't know what that is.
it's just a great podcast app.
Obviously, I knew
But
that.
like I scroll through and they have like a fantasy, or I don't even remember what the section is called. Let me see. But like you scroll through and you just see like all these Dungeons and Dragons ones, and I'm like, if I knew more, and I would actually sit and listen to one, but I'm not part of their like.
that's how you learn. You sit and listen to them. You know.
True, but like
Overcast. There it is.
yeah. But like you
Okay.
kind of got to get involved early on because it's a whole campaign. You know how D&D works.
Yeah. No.
Like you don't want to just come in randomly.
I mean, I was almost in a D&D campaign
Oh,
once.
you were?
Yes.
What was your
Almost,
character?
almost once.
Almost once.
you get
I can't
saved?
remember my name. I'm trying to remember. It was like a clown.
A
not
clown?
It was like what was this guy's name? Basically, it was supposed to be one me and my friends were doing. We were just goofing around, and it never ended up getting started. Like they made half the story, and then it just some people moved, and it just never took off. But basically, I was supposed to be this clown character that like traveled the world, and then he somehow got paired up with his group, and when I was telling them, they were like, "So, what do you want your character to be?" Like, I was like, "I want him to be
Clown or gesture? Like
oh, you know what, you're right. It was Jester.
That sounds like the right word for D&D.
yeah,
seems
I
more
mean,
accurate.
it's like it's a fantasy clown. That's what a jester is.
But basically, the whole point of my character is that I was like, I want him to be as ridiculous as possible, and I want him to just have no abilities. Like, I want him to have like one power, and I want it to be completely overpowered, but also completely random.
What was your power?
So I had an inflatable chicken, and every time that I used it, it was 1 damage. But I could wait 1 turn and inflate it for +5 damage every turn I waited to inflate.
So your power was like useless.
Well, if I waited long enough and had enough protection, it was pretty nice.
But it's like, do you have to inflate the chicken as you use it? Like
Yes.
Like, do you like blow like a beach ball blow up the chicken?
Yes, that was the whole point of my character.
That's
It's
what-
just I probably on my phone have somewhere on here
Your character,
my character. Yeah, I wrote down a Google Doc.
the character
Whatever
that
this
never
was.
was James the Jester with an inflatable chicken.
Character for
We should
D&D.
call that
I
now.
named it. His name was Regal Stiegel.
Regals.
Regal Stiegel.
Okay.
Interesting
He was
name.
core word was humor. Class was Saint of Wandering Minstrels.
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 You're a
Minstrels?
minstrel.
Minstrels.
Like a minstrument guy?
Look at. Don't worry about it.
I don't know what that
He,
word is.
I don't remember what it was either. But we used it for this, and it worked, and we Googled it, all fine. So his special ability is Megaphone. Range 5, hits 1 to 3 people for up to 2 targets. 1 to 3 damage. Hits up to 2 targets. Inflatable rubber chicken. Man, wait, what the heck is all this? I don't know. This is all
You don't
written
need to
weird.
read. You don't need to read all this about your D&D character, sir.
What else? Passive king of comedy.
Anyways,
Whenever I
so-
make someone laugh,
So anyways.
I can make them use one of their abilities on my turn. A very interesting character.
You can make people laugh.
I'm really confused.
This all spun off me bringing up D&D podcasts because there's a
I've
lot
always
of
wanted to
those.
kind of do. I've kind of always wanted to do D&D. It's always seemed like it'd be interesting. But I
It
just never
takes
got
a
to it.
lot of time.
I know.
I've played
I'm fine with
Pathfinder, and oh my gosh, it never got anywhere.
What is Pathfinder?
It's a version of it's like a spin-off of D&D, kind of like there's League of Legends and the other one that was like a spin-off of it.
Oh, I see.
I can't. That's World of Warcraft. Different game.
Same thing.
I can't think of the other one. There was it, but no. Pathfinder took certain sets of D&D rules and they spun off. But I tried playing it with some friends. It was somehow I got roped into playing with my parents' friends. It was kind of funny, but I made fun of one of my dad's friends a lot in that game.
Well, when in Rome.
So, Dylan, what are you looking at over there?
Just checking out some more ideas of
My
how to get this topic off of D&D.
Well, you did it right there.
Well,
I'm actually something of an expert in D&D myself.
no, you're not. You just were trying to explain us your D&D character, and you had to read a whole paragraph. Of
Right,
it.
that's just how D&D characters work, man. If you really want to do it right, you got to have a page of a character, at least a page, explaining your backstory, who you are, all that kind of
a
stuff.
page isn't like a phone screen, or a page isn't like a whole like.
whole Google Doc page.
Wow.
Well, he was reading a Google Doc. Yeah, Google
I
Doc.
was reading the Google Doc. My character was well thought out, all that stuff. Because
With
I was
rubber chickens.
I was committed.
Rubber chickens.
I was committed to this. Okay. And I really specifically told them, I was like, I want to make sure that my character dies at the end of this campaign. And they were like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Just because I can.
Are you mentally okay?
I'm mentally stable, mostly.
I did add some articles.
I did. I'm reading them right now. Actually.
So
Is that what you're reading?
I have.
Okay.
Can I read my first one?
You can read it, yeah.
So this one I found on NPR. This one's from last year. You can pull them up on your phone too.
And this segment is called
We don't have any fun we'll find fun transitions.
Random News Stories.
Yeah. This one. Oh, what is it? They told insurers a bear damaged their car, but it was actually a person in a costume. And so there's a picture of the bear costume, which is actually kind of an elaborate bear costume. But it was 4 residents of the Los Angeles area were arrested this week after an investigation by the California Department of Insurance revealed that they allegedly used a life-size bear costume to stage attacks on their vehicle.
That's impressive.
And attempt to secure a 6-figure payout. Can you imagine the effort and thought? Did they just?
What did that costume cost? You think?
Oh my gosh, the
They
costume.
probably barely made back what they spent with the costume.
Well, they're in
so.
jail.
Well, that's true.
But can you imagine just sitting around one day, like you're just sitting and you're like, oh, I have a bright idea. Let's try to make some quick money. Dress as make a bear costume, destroy our cars,
Better
and then
hiring
get
a
caught.
bear.
That's a pretty elaborate. That's a deep thought.
Well,
It is.
see, here's why. It was in L.A., so
It was in L.A.
California.
cost of living is $8 billion, so they got to do something out there.
I mean, it is kind of like the Wild West out there. We don't know what goes on.
I've seen that people talk about Florida Man, all right, but
California
I've
guy?
seen some stuff. Yeah, I've seen some California stuff where I'm just like, man, Florida Man ain't got nothing on that.
But there was a detective involved.
Yeah.
Detectives found 2 more claims involving the same suspects.
So they hired it out, or
So did it on multiple cars?
Apparently,
Yeah.
but these aren't like any cars. This was a Mercedes G63 AMG.
I'm so confused. What was the point though?
But
Those
here's
are
the thing.
nicer cars. Why
But
are
they could afford the cars to begin with, so why did they need a bear costume to destroy the
Well,
cars?
could they afford the cars, or did they?
Why do they need?
They
the
just put
insurance
down
claim?
some money on it, and then they got the
Oh,
cars.
I mean, they
like,
probably
we
could
own
have,
them,
but
probably.
Wow.
but you had to also have money to go buy a bear costume.
Right. But, I mean, we don't know how much it costs, though.
You know
We're
where they
just
found
speculating.
them? You know how they found out that it was fake?
How? Biologists?
In California, they only have wild black bears in the state. And the
That's-
costume that they bought was a brown bear.
So poor planning.
They took them off, I think.
Oh my goodness, you guys got to think this through. You guys got
I
to
mean,
think
they
it
got
through.
away with 2 other cars before.
Yeah,
so.
but you gotta at least make sure you're getting the right kind of bear costume if you're gonna go through with it.
Yeah, no, I think people that do this kind of thing are the people that are thinking things through all the way. So,
But if you're thinking through, why do you want to put a brown bear and there's only black bears?
This seems like a, hey, we were high on drugs. Let's get a bear costume and break some cars and get some money.
I guess.
Do you have experience?
James.
So you have any other ones that you want to talk about? Or
Good.
I think one's good.
think one's good?
Oh, this one was. I got to do one more. This one was funny. Like
All right,
this is Colorado men accused of attempting to use a cannon to launch meth and tobacco into Louisiana prison.
Huh?
Let me repeat
Say that
this.
one more time.
Colorado men accused of attempting to use a cannon to launch meth and tobacco into Louisiana prison.
Are Colorado and Louisiana?
I guess these are Colorado guys who probably have friends.
What kind of cannon shoots across the country?
I don't know. Let me read the
What?
article. It's a short article. Let me read it. On Friday, Grant Parish Sheriff's Office in Louisiana said 2 Colorado men were arrested after attempting to use a cannon to sneak meth and tobacco into a federal prison. The Sheriff's Office said an investigation led deputies to learn suspects from Greenlee planned to use a cannon propelled by compressed air to launch $112,000 worth of tobacco and $89,500 worth of meth into prison.
I mean, the real question is, they $112,000. All right, why are they launching it in there? Why don't they just post their friend's bail?
$200,000.
But then deputies said the cannon, which could shoot items 350 feet into the air, would launch items over federal prison security, prison security fence, and onto prison grounds. The 2 suspects, 18-year-old, I'm not going to say their names, and 19-year-old. There's 18 and 19-year-olds, both from Greenlee, are facing charges of attempting to introduce contraband into penal institution and attempting to distribute methamphetamine. The sheriff's office also said U.S. immigration. Oh, I'm not reading any of that part. You can edit that.
That's like impressive. Honestly, these 2 teenagers, they're both under 20.
Yes, somehow
How
managed to make a
impressive-
cannon.
How impressive did they build this cannon? Dude?
They built a cannon?
Yes, they said they use an air cannon, unless they
Or did
bought.
They
buy
might
an
not. They
air
might
cannon.
not.
They could have bought like a
They could've
t-shirt
bought it.
cannon. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
That's
like,
a lot of money to spend on drugs to shoot them into prison.
but also why? Like, you go from one. So you have 2 extremes. So you have 2 extremes here. You have tobacco, like at like the most like you can just walk into a gas station and buy tobacco, versus meth. Like the highest. Like you got to make meth.
This article is too short. I need more details.
I
Like, do they
also
have
agree.
friends in this prison or what?
I mean,
yeah,
they
why
probably
are
just
they
not
doing
allowed
this?
detail yet.
Or was
That's
it
why
just for a good laugh, you know?
But they do. But they don't look like guys who are in it for a good. They look like angry men.
They look pretty angry.
I mean, they're kids. What do they know?
But dude, they don't look like kids though. That's the weird part.
That's
Let me
nuts.
look at this picture.
That's pretty
Hey,
nuts.
They look like kids.
Dude, they do not look like kids.
That kid's got the perv stash.
He does. But how do you go from one extreme of tobacco to meth? Like you have like 2 ends of the spectrum. Like, yes, let me take a cannon and launch meth over prison walls. Also,
Yeah.
how do you walk outside with a cannon?
Why do you spend $200,000 and not use the drugs? Like,
Well,
just
man,
got
they
rid
have
of all
homes,
of it.
man. They can't use drugs. It's ridiculous.
You know the dealers never use.
I guess. That's
But
nuts.
like, were they just like, maybe they were high and they were like, I have a good idea.
maybe they did
Maybe.
use the drugs, actually.
I don't
That might
know,
be the
dude.
problem here.
I don't
Dude,
know,
that's insane. That's just bananas of like, let me walk up to prison walls and just shoot illegal substances over the wall. There's
I don't
other
know,
ways to do. There's other. Have they not watched any prison movies?
If
There's
I
other
had-
ways
if
to
I
get
had
drugged and
$200,000
things
to
in
blow
there.
like that, I would be buying a lot of other things.
Same.
Yeah, like a car. I
I
get a
don't know,
car.
man.
Oh yeah, and the white Focus is not good enough for you.
Kept breaking it yesterday.
Your white
Oh, no.
stallion.
So yeah, what happened was my trunk only opens from the clicker, or from inside the trunk, and I shut the back seat that I had laying down so I could get to my trunk, and I had all my stuff in there. I had my backpack and my shoes and all this kind of stuff in there. And I was like, oh crap, like my stuff's all in there. I knew there was a way. I had called a guy from AAA before, and he'd been like, oh, there's actually a secret on the Focuses. If you just like pull really hard on the seat, it comes off. And like it like comes down, like it just unlatches the hook. And I was like, okay. And so I don't know what this guy was on, but apparently he had super strength because I tried this, and I'm no weakling, and I'm pulling on this thing with my
he
body
goes to the
weight.
gym every single day.
I'm pushing with my legs, like I'm every ounce of force that I can muster. I'm putting into this thing. My fingers were like just throbbing, did not come off. I'm like, crap. And I'm like, maybe I can reach into the back seat somehow, or reach into the trunk through the back seat somehow. And I saw this little plastic piece, and I was like, all right, this looks like it comes off. And I could see it came off a little bit. I was like, click this thing out of place. And then all of a sudden I heard, oh, I accidentally ripped it off of my car. And so I'm like, crap, that's cool.
So you just broke your car.
So I started breaking my car, and I look at it, I'm trying to put it back on now. I'm not worried about what's in my truck anymore, because I'm like, oh crap, like I broke my car. So I try to put this piece back on. It's like kind of on, and I'm like, crap. Let me try to pull on this thing one more time. Maybe it'll come off now that I've broken my car. And I tried to pull on it again. It didn't work, and I kind of was like leaned back on my front seat in my back seat, and I grabbed that little handle that I call the panic handle to just kind of pull myself up a little bit, snap, right off. And I was like, oh man, this is not how this should have gone.
What year is your car,
It's
by the
time
way?
for a new
2005 Ford
car.
Focus SE. And no, it's not. Not until I've put away a substantial amount of money in the bank. I mean, it still runs. It's just
He's gonna
broken on
run
the inside.
he's gonna run this car into the ground. All 4 tires one day are just he's gonna go to the expressway and they're all just gonna pop off. And then
Probably.
I'll have
I
to
can
go
see it.
I'll have to go pick him up on the side of the road.
Yeah,
like
you will.
my remains, or because
Yes.
if the tires go off while I'm on the highway, I will not live.
To shovel them off the road.
Yeah, I'll have to shovel James
It'll be a
off
pretty
the
sad
road.
day.
I mean, it's a good car. It's a good car, but it just I have
Well, you know,
trouble with it
it's a
sometimes.
beater. Like, so you don't really care about it. Remember that time you came over to my house and you just drove on legit. You like had to hop off. They were doing construction
did.
on the
You went
road.
off-roading
You
in
went
your-
off-roading in this car.
That was pretty
And
nice.
then
Well, yeah.
I remember walking.
I walked to the
Dylan
front.
walks to the front. He's like, James is on your street. And I'm like, that idiot. What is he doing? Because the street. Let me explain the street. So they were tearing up the street and going to lay new concrete. So the street was just like the rock underneath, and there was a little piece of like the main like road to get out onto the other road that they're tearing up.
Yeah.
And so it was like this drop off. So we had to go off this, not like small drop off, like this pretty big drop off for
I
a
think
car.
it was 8
Like
feet
it,
deep.
I don't
It
think
was a good foot or two down from the
Yeah,
road.
and so he hops it in the Focus.
It was impressive.
Onto the gravel, goes up, and then I'm like, dude, Dylan walks back to me, and it's like, James is in front of your house. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? I walk to the front, and I'm like, James, you can't be on here. And then he's like, oh, I don't know where to go. And I'm like, I took a video of where to park.
Yeah, but I was already driving at that point.
Yeah, we know, because that's how you ended up on the
Yeah.
gravel road. And you had to first go off that little drop off, back onto the little drop off.
Yeah.
R.I.P. your car.
You know, I lived on a dirt road at the time, and so I was like, it's just, it's whatever. My car's been through heck anyway.
Also, James and I are roommates. That's why
Yeah.
I would be the one shoveling his remains off when his car wheels pop off.
Yeah,
We're each other's emergency contacts,
Yes,
as all roommates should be.
that's cute.
100%.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've all known each other. We never really gave it like that. We've known each other for a while. I mean, Dylan and I have.
Yeah.
And then Gabe and I have known Dylan for a little bit less, but I've known for like almost a year now.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that. I've known you, James, for like 2 years,
Yep.
3 years,
2
something
years,
like
because
that.
we were all the way back. We were all the way back in like 22.
Yeah. Dylan and I met when we were in 7th grade.
Yes.
I remember this. We went to the same youth group at church together, and I remember as he was a 6th grader, and was it the first day 6th graders were coming into youth group,
Probably.
something like that.
Probably.
I for some reason thought, hey, look at this kid, and I walk over and I just proceed to punch him,
Look at this guy.
and then
Gabe
I'm
thought
like,
he was pretty smart that day.
yeah, and then I said, hey, let's go hang out, and so we ended up throwing a dodgeball at each other, and we've been friends ever since, and it's kind of surprising.
That's how boyfriends start, Boy
Boy-
friendships.
boy-
Boyfriendships.
boyfriends,
Boyfriendships.
Whoa,
Friend boys.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Boys that are
boys.
friends. That's how
Friends
boys
that are
start.
boys, yep.
Friend boys.
That's how friend boys start.
Just friendships. You could have just said friendships.
Yeah, but no, I can't because I got to specify because girl friendships don't start that way.
Yeah, but you could say just dude friendships. You know.
Well, listen, you know what? All I'm saying
Do you
is,
think before you speak, man?
all right, listen. All right, I don't want. I'm just gonna make it like this. All right, it's just a phrase. Like girls are like, oh, hang out with my girlfriends. Like,
They're girls though.
all right, I'm just saying. I think we should normalize doing something like that for guys. I think that's a normal thing to say. It's not.
Dude bros.
Doesn't have to be. Yeah,
Bros.
whatever.
I was
have
saying,
bros.
yeah,
Hey,
we
I'm a
have bros.
Bro
man.
chips.
Our
Bro
potato chips.
Yeah.
Bro chacho. Bro migos.
All right, we get the point. But what was I saying? I forgot.
Oh,
don't
you said that's how boyfriends start.
That's how boyfriendships start. So it's just,
Friendship.
we gotta like or feel each other out. Like be like, hey, is this guy? Is he
What?
a good vibe?
This might
gotta
get
fight
edited
each
out.
other.
This is
might
how
get edited
Harrison
out.
is getting it edited out.
So, anyways, in conclusion, we're at like 40 minutes already.
Really?
All right, perfect.
So, if you like this podcast, you can go follow us on the Instagrammers.
I feel like we need a better way to end this than just that.
Well, we're going to end it with shoot your video in horizontal.
Oh well, yeah. But we gotta be like, well, on that note, like we gotta have a segue. Segue is off of what James is going off of.
Segue like in Monka.
Yeah, like we ride segways.
Ooh.
We should buy those as a group.
You know the guy who invented segways died on a segway.
That's pretty meta.
Play Pokemon Go.
It
fall
is.
off cliff.
Well, so speaking of segways, you can follow us on Spotify and give us a review on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. And you can find us on whatever podcast platform you like. Sadly,
Yeah.
Overcast does not have comments, reviews, or stars, but they have some cool features. But
Yeah, and then coming on Instagram too. Our Instagram is boys_in_the_basement.
yeah,
That's Instagram.
you can find us there. Our logo is a work in progress. Hopefully, it'll be done by the time this releases. I'm currently
You
working on
can
it.
also find us on X, boys_in_basement.
I didn't know we had an X account. That's
Not
news.
the basement?
Yeah, we can do
Boys in
some good
basement?
convos on X. I think.
Yeah, you can
Good
always
text-based.
you can always comment random things. Like,
Yes, comment some show ideas, segment ideas,
Yes.
whatever you want us to talk about. Say hi, and we'll shout you out.
Yes, we will.
Because I mean,
How many
there's not
times
that
you
many
said
people so far,
fart?
so
You could tell us how many times you said fart in the last 3 days or
Maybe we
something.
can do some
Don't do
like
that.
maybe we can do some like trivia on our X or something. I don't know.
Oh, we could bring trivia onto the podcast.
I think you can do polls and stuff, can't you?
You can, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be fun. So go follow, and come back
Just
soon.
comment quesadilla.
Ooh, comment quesadilla, and we'll send you $5.
And Big Hollywood, if you're listening to this, all right, you could take your offer and you could shove it, all right? Because I'm here with the boys in the basement, all right?
On that note, shoot your video in horizontal and have a good week. We'll see you
And
soon.
we are out.